Aurora police are about to speak about the recovery of a 14-year-old girl from Aurora. She went missing for 10 days, and through a joint effort across states, law enforcement found her in Las Vegas. A Colorado man is now in custody in connection with her disappearance. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Jennifer Meckles. Police tell us the teenager left her family's home in Aurora on her own on June 15th. Detectives are still looking into how exactly she ended up in Vegas and how she connected with the 26-year-old man who was staying at a home in Kremling, Colorado. Officers arrested Christian Williamson on charges of internet sexual exploitation of a child and internet luring of a child. Aurora police say they have found evidence at the girl's house that they had been communicating with each other for several months. Aurora police are going to be talking very soon to media. We hope to learn quite a bit more about this case and investigation. When they are ready, we will listen in and get back to you with any details. Colorado deputies in Chaffee County will work with officials in Arizona now to arrange the transfer of Barry Morphew back to Colorado. This after Morphew waived his right to an extradition hearing. He's been in jail in Arizona since he was arrested last week, accused of murdering his wife, Suzanne Morphew. A new indictment claims he was the only private citizen in all of Colorado who had access to a combination of drugs that was found in Suzanne's system. 2 people are in the hospital today after a fire at an apartment building in North Glen. It happened early this morning, and the very first people to call 911 said they heard explosions. The fire started around 4:30 at Huntington Square Apartments. That's near 105th and Washington Street, east of 25. 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon has more details.
The fire is now out, and North Metro Fire Rescue crews left the scene here at about just after 6 o'clock this morning. But take a look, there are still residents out here who are displaced from this building. They were evacuated earlier this morning. North Metro Fire tells me they're not sure how long they will be displaced, but the Red Cross is available to help them. I spoke with North Metro's public information officer this morning, and she says they received this 911 call around 4:30 this morning. Take a look at this video from the scene earlier. When firefighters arrived on scene, they saw heavy smoke coming from this apartment building. Residents here told me they were woken up by a loud boom that they thought was an explosion. Jennifer DiGuerrero lives next door to where the fire happened. She says she opened her door and saw flames inside her neighbor's apartment. She says her neighbor inside the unit had cuts and scrapes all over his legs. His window was blown out with glass everywhere. She says her other neighbor from across the hall ran out with a fire extinguisher and sprayed down the fire. That's when smoke came pouring out of the apartment.
He came out of his apartment with his extinguisher and came over, opened the door and sprayed in there, and I think he saved us. I really do, because if he wouldn't have done that, because it was going to happen fast, because once the first explosion happened, there was another something that happened, and once that happened, that's when the smoke really came up, and that's when it got really bad. But he took care of it, so he's definitely my hero right now, for sure.
North Metro Fire Rescue says that 2 people were transported to the hospital, and right now their conditions are unknown. So far, there is no word yet on what caused this fire, but the fire investigator is on scene trying to determine that cause. In North Glen, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
Hey, finally, no storms expected today, but certainly we saw the leftovers of what barreled through Colorado last night. In Aurora, hail fell quickly. So much of it came down so fast, cars were getting stuck. Aurora Fire Rescue had to go out to Geneva Street and Delmar Parkway and use snow plows to clear out some of this hail. Tow truck drivers even got in and helped. Some of that hail is still on the ground this morning. It's wild. That never lasts that long. Today, though, nice clear skies. The heat is coming back. Jaden Knowles joins me now with our 9 News Weather Impact team. And I know you're new around here, but this hail thing, we get this in the early summertime. It's kind of crazy.
This is typical for Colorado, and I'm going to explain why here shortly. But so far, the reason we did see that hail yesterday, because the initial forecast calls for those storms to push towards the east. Those storms actually towards the east had an outflow boundary, which is just some cooled air, and there was a lot of moisture left over. And so those storms really formed right over Denver and continued to track towards the east. So that was like a second wave of that. I was at the Rockies game yesterday, and boy, was it coming down. But so far, none of that today, or really for your weekend. You can see temperatures fairly warm already. The upper 70s, low 80s right outside in our backyard here. Here's some more pictures from last night. So much hail just fell down quickly, as well as the rain. And so far, you can see North Glen, 1.1 inches in under 20 minutes. So far, though, like I mentioned, no storms in our forecast. We're going to talk about your weekend forecast and my full later on in the show. Jenny?
Right, thank you. And now
timeline
Aurora
of
police
events
are
to
talking about the
take you
recovery of
through.
that missing teenager from Aurora found in Las Vegas. Let's listen in.
We'll open it up for questions. So on Monday, June 16th, we received the initial 911 call for service for a missing person. Our patrol officers showed up and took a report of missing person, possible runaway report. We found out later that about 2 a.m. Monday night, Christian Williamson, one of the suspects, had driven to the girl's house and picked her up and took her to a hotel in Lakewood at 2 a.m. on Monday. On Tuesday, June 17th, a second suspect, whose name has been identified as Cameron Scruggs, drives to Colorado from Las Vegas, and Christian hands the victim off at that point to Cameron. We've just learned in the last couple of hours, please remember this is an ongoing, unfolding investigation, and we're getting more information as the investigation continues. In the last couple hours, we've just learned that we believe a female accomplice, an adult female accomplice, was with Cameron when he drove to Colorado and picked up the victim. Our investigators are actively working to identify this victim, or this second suspect. Patrol officers and detectives respond back to the residents to follow up because they receive more information about what's going on with the victim, and some concerning information comes out. So detectives show back up and continue the investigations, start looking at social media, start doing, our PIO starts making media releases, and we start ramping things up. On Friday, June 19th, CBI issues a missing endangered alert to further get this information out. We begin to widen the net. We realize that it potentially has gone outside of Aurora and keeps expanding. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children then releases information nationally about what we have and bulletins. On Sunday, June 21st, the parents then recontact our detectives, and they let the detectives know that they found a journal, the victim's journal. And detectives at that point receive only portions of the journal screenshots. They start looking for them, looking through them and find that there's a detailed plan of the runaway. There's some names in there of possible suspects. There's other pertinent information that detectives start working on. On Monday, June 22nd, detectives get the actual journal and begin following up on leads from everything in the journal. Detectives also, based on what they find in the journal, start diving into the social media accounts on stuff that's written in there that's given them places to go look. On Tuesday, June 23rd, detectives develop the names of the possible suspects, Christian Williamson and Cameron Scruggs. Detectives develop possible location of Christian at that point, which is up in Kremling, Colorado. Plan is developed to work in conjunction with other agencies at that point to expand the investigation into Grand County, Colorado. On the morning of Wednesday, June 24th, the Aurora Police Department, in conjunction with the FBI and the Kremling Police Department, contact Christian at his house in Kremling. Christian is then arrested and starts providing information to detectives about Cameron, who's in Las Vegas. Search warrants are written by detectives and executed at Christian's house at that point. On the afternoon of Wednesday, June 24th, our investigators start to coordinate with the FBI in Las Vegas and the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, and they start surveilling where we believe Cameron is living out in Las Vegas, and they launch their investigation. During the surveillance operation, Cameron arrives in a vehicle and he's taken into custody. And at this point, the victim is located inside of Cameron's residence. Christian Williamson is subsequently charged with internet sexual exploitation of a child and internet luring of a child, and he's booked into the Grand County Jail. Cameron Scruggs is facing kidnapping charges in Colorado, and in addition, he's facing statutory sexual seduction by a person 21 or older in Nevada, where he is currently in custody. Additional charges against both are expected. As I said, this is an ongoing investigation, and we still have a ways to go and a lot of tasks to accomplish, and we believe that be more charges in this. The Aurora Police Department's Internet Crimes Against Children Unit led the investigation with the assistance of the Special Victims Section. And additional agencies involved in the investigations include, it's a bit of a long list, but we're very, very grateful about their help. Colorado Bureau of Investigation, Arapahoe County District Attorney's Office, Westminster PD, Lakewood PD, Kremling PD, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Grand County Sheriff's Office, Las Vegas Metro PD, Homeland Security Investigations Denver Office, FBI's Denver and Las Vegas field offices. I'd like to commend the dedicated work
You
of
have
our
been
investigators.
listening to investigators out of Aurora, Colorado, giving us more details about the case of a missing teenager who was recovered in Colorado. We're learning today about two suspects, a man based in Colorado and a man based in Las Vegas, who have both been identified as of this as being involved in this case, and also learning about how the victim's journal and social media were key parts of investigators looking into finding her, again, located, a 14-year-old girl from Aurora in Las Vegas. We're going to take a break, and we'll have more news and weather for you in a moment.